The dusty town of Broken Tree had long since forgotten kindness. With sun-cracked roads and saloons full of empty promises, it was a place people passed through, never a place anyone chose to stay. That made the girl on the station bench stand out. She was no older than 17, maybe 18 at most. Her dress was torn, the fabric stained with blood that wasn't quite dry. A faded shawl clung to her shoulders. Her belly, heavy and swollen with child, rose and fell with each labored breath as the last westbound train pulled away, leaving her in a cloud of soot. Her name was Mary Ellen Barnes, though she hadn't spoken it aloud in weeks. Nobody asked. She had come from a ranch far out past the mountains, or rather, fled from it. Her stepfather's fists had become too cruel, and when the pregnancy began to show, her mother turned her away without so much as a coat. Now she was here, alone, hungry, carrying more than just a baby, carrying the weight of abandonment, shame, and survival. She laid her head down on the wood bench and closed her eyes, hoping the night would pass quickly. But someone was watching. Chapter 2, A Quiet Offer. Silas Monroe was a man of few words and fewer friends. He owned a modest ranch 10 miles outside Broken Tree, raising mustangs and keeping to himself. Folks whispered that he'd once been an outlaw with blood on his hands, but no one could ever prove it. What they could see was that he rode into town once a week, bought supplies, and never looked anyone in the eye. That night, Silas was tying his horse to the post outside the telegraph office when he saw her. A girl, barely a woman, bruised and broken, alone. Something stirred in him, something old and buried, a memory of a sister gone too soon, a child who had once looked to him for protection, and he had been too far gone in whiskey and rage to stop the men who took her. He walked up slowly, boots crunching on gravel. Mary Ellen jolted upright, fear flashing in her eyes. "I ain't gonna hurt you," Silas said softly. "Just thought you might need a place to rest." She narrowed her eyes. "You don't know me." "No," he agreed, "but I know hurt when I see it." Silas reached into his thule bag and pulled out a folded wool blanket. He draped it gently across her legs and turned to leave. Then, just as he reached his horse, he heard her voice, small and hoarse. "Wait, please." He turned. "Where would I go?" she asked, her voice cracking. "Ain't nobody coming for me." Silas hesitated. Then he said the 5 words that would change both their lives. "Come home with me, then." Chapter 3, Healing on the Prairie. Mary Ellen didn't trust him, not at first. She rode behind him on the Mustang, clutching her belly and biting back the pain. His ranch was small, just one cabin, a barn, and a chicken coop, but it was clean, safe. He gave her the bed, slept on the floor. Days passed. She didn't talk much. Neither did he. But he brought her fresh water each morning and taught her how to care for the chickens. He made her tea for her swelling feet and wrapped her wrists when they ached. Each gesture, simple but kind, unraveled the knots in her chest. One morning, while sweeping the porch, Mary Ellen looked out over the prairie and whispered, "Why'd you do it?" Silas leaned against the post, arms folded. "Couldn't walk away again," he said. She turned to him. "Again?" His jaw tightened, but then he told her about his sister, Emmeline, about the night she screamed for help and no one came, about the guilt that hollowed him out. She was pregnant too, he finished. Didn't make it. Mary Ellen stepped forward, touched his hand. Neither spoke, but from that moment, something between them began to shift. Chapter 4, Storm on the Horizon. By the time the first snow fell, Mary Ellen had made the cabin a home. She cooked, laughed, real laughter, and helped mend the fence posts. Silas began to smile more. They were no longer 2 broken people sharing space. They were healing, together. One night, while sitting by the fire, Silas reached over and rested his hand on her belly. The baby kicked. She laughed, startled. He looked into her eyes. "You ever think about staying?" he asked. "I already have," she whispered. Their lips met for the first time. Soft, careful, like they were building something neither had dared to hope for. But peace in the Wild West was never meant to last. A week later, Mary Ellen spotted a horse approaching from the ridge. The rider wore a tan coat and a wide-brimmed hat. Her blood turned to ice. It was her stepfather. Chapter 5. The Reckoning. Jake Barnes had followed her trail all the way from the mountain ranch. Not out of love, but pride. He claimed the baby was his, and he wanted it back. "You think you can hide out with some broken-down cowboy and keep my blood?" he snarled at Silas. "She ain't yours," Silas said calmly, but his hand hovered near his holster. Jake spat. "The hell she ain't. I raised her, fed her, and she owes me." Mary Ellen stood tall then, belly and all. "You don't own me, Jake. You never did." Jake pulled his revolver. Silas drew faster. The shot rang out like thunder. Jake fell. Mary Ellen stared at the man who had haunted her dreams for months, now lying still in the snow. Silas lowered his gun. "Ain't nobody taking you from here," he said. She collapsed into his arms, sobbing. Chapter 6. New Life, New Love. Spring came early that year. The child, a boy, was born in late March. Silas helped deliver him, hand shaking but steady. Mary Ellen named him Emmett, after Silas's sister. They married in a quiet ceremony under the cottonwood trees, just the two of them in the prairie wind. Mary Ellen became the heart of the ranch, her strength no longer hidden by bruises or fear. Silas, once silent and haunted, now laughed as he lifted Emmett in the air and kissed his wife goodnight. The town of Broken Trees still whispered about the girl who came with nothing and the cowboy who gave her everything. But she didn't care. She had a family. She had a home. And for the first time in her life, Mary Ellen knew what it meant to be loved.